Almost nobody knew about Ja Morant before college. Although scouting services and recruiting rankings did not even rank Ja Morant, he lived in complete anonymity. As a result, he did not get any scholarship offers from the major Division I schools. And it was a complete accident that an assistant coach from Murray State even discovered him. Stick around and watch how Ja Morant went from a complete unknown after high school to competing with Zion Williamson to be the potential #1 pick of the draft within a few short years. And why was he ultimately disregarded before college? High school life. Contrary to popular belief, Morant was a dominant force in high school. He attended Crestwood High School in South Carolina, where he finished as the all-time leading scorer, averaging 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in his junior and senior seasons. Morant would be named the All-Region MVP in 3 different years in South Carolina, but perhaps his most notable moment came during the 2017 Carolina's All-Star Basketball Classic. According to Morant's high school coach, Dwayne Edwards, an article described his reaction to his performance. Morant played as well as anyone in the annual event. This game featured LeVar Batts Jr. of NC State, Jason Cudd of South Carolina, and Clyde Trapp of Clemson, among other Division I prospects. Morant's performance so tickled Edwards that he called him on the ride home from Myrtle Beach to tell him how special he could be. This is great, but for a guy to average 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in high school, yet still meddling in obscurity, what's up with that? Well, there are various reasons. For one, while Morant did briefly play in the AAU circuit, he never participated in any significant AAU program. Like most top draft picks, that's usually how many future NBA prospects gain stardom, from playing in a well-recognized AAU program with a vast budget backed by many sponsors and advertisers. However, Morant did not. To add to that, the high school he went to was not exactly known for producing basketball talent. Compared to the high school Zion Williamson went to, Spartanburg Day School in South Carolina, a private school with a significant focus on athletics and much funding for its programs. Even if Morant had all the talent in the world, he wasn't part of the quote-unquote crowd like his peers. If you're younger, you might think that all you need to do is show your talent and skills to get noticed. That's the hard part of getting noticed. There are approximately 5,000 high school basketball players in America. To get recognized, you need connections. You need to have the money to travel across the country. You need to participate in programs where schools are going to be there. For more, he and his family were not capable of doing that. It also didn't help that physically, Morant did not look like an NBA player. He was like 5'9", 130 pounds for his first few years in high school, and he couldn't even dunk until his senior year. Eventually, he would grow to 6 foot 3 inches, but afterward, he was undersized. That was the main reason he was overlooked for most of his high school career. Even though he excelled in his region, he was nowhere near close to having an NBA caliber body. However, the work ethic was always there. Morant and Steph Curry had a lot of resemblances. With both of them being undersized growing up, they had a late growth spurt. So, they couldn't just physically overpower their opponents in high school. Their parents knew their kids needed to outskill their opponents. So, they spent their younger years refining the technical aspects of their games. On the flip side, many guys who were so dominant from a young age never found the need to develop those skills, and they'd have to create them later in the NBA as they got older. Morant and Steph came into the NBA with a very developed skill set because they worked tirelessly as kids doing all those drills. Being recognized. Fortunately, he would eventually get discovered by accident. James Kane, Murray State's assistant coach, made a trip to South Carolina to attend a one-day combine for high school prospects in that area. He had an idea of which guys to pay attention to, but Morant was not even on his radar. Morant had gotten more notoriety in his local scene, but nobody outside of their region knew about him. So when Kane was observing players, he didn't even notice Morant for most of the combine. Until he saw him in a game of 3-on-3, Morant just absolutely dominated his competition. For the first time, Kane witnessed his 44-inch vertical explosive first step that rivaled that of the best college players in the country. And his basketball IQ was on full display, exceptionally his knack for finding his teammates. His passing and court vision were out of this world, about as good as any professional player. The game seemed so easy, so natural for him. For the rest of the day, Kane would track him down and observe him closely. He was so excited he discovered him that he immediately called Matt McMahon, Murray State's head coach. They were hoping they could find a way to get him to Murray State. It wasn't too long after the Murray State coaches developed a close relationship with Morant and his family. They met each other numerous times for dinner and talked about what they could provide for him and his role at Murray State if he chose to come. Morant soon became one of the guys on the front page. Other colleges took notice as well, and so the recruitment process officially started and Morant started getting calls from everybody. All significant schools were now interested in scheduling meetings and workouts to see what he was really about. Arizona, Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas were all desperate to know more about this kid. By this point, he had developed such a tight-knit relationship with the Murray State coaches that he wasn't taking any more calls. Not just that, but he appreciated that Murray State reached out to him before anyone else did. For that, he knew he wanted to go there. When Morant arrived at Murray State, there wasn't much fanfare or excitement because even though he caught the attention of some scouts, the average basketball fan had no idea who he was. First year. Throughout his first year, that would slowly change. He showed glimpses of the skills that made us think this guy can become a legit star. The issue was he was still an afterthought because he spent most of his first year deferring to his teammates. That was the game plan, but the coaches knew Morant was quietly the most talented player on the roster. He just needed to wait his turn. His sophomore season truly catapulted him to the top of the draft boards. Morant averaged a staggering 24 points and 10 assists per game and displayed the complete package for a point guard we've seen in a long time. One scout described him as having the ferocity and athleticism of Russell Westbrook with a mindset and court vision of Chris Paul. Second year. Morant was the quickest, most explosive, and athletic point guard in the NCAA. He also had a cerebral and delicate side to him. He did average 5 turnovers a game, which is a lot, especially in college. But it was one of his few weaknesses that could be mitigated in the pros if he had the right people around him. By the end of his second year, Morant had won multiple awards for the Ohio Valley Conference Player of the Year and the tournament MVP. The Bob Cousy Award is given to the best point guard in college. As a result of his success, his draft stock soared, and there were even debates if he should be taken over Zion Williamson, who held on to the number 1 year-round. Nevertheless, Morant then got selected with the second pick of the draft by the Memphis Grizzlies. On July 2, 2019, he signed a 4-year contract worth $39.6 million with the Grizzlies. At the end of the season, he was named the NBA Rookie of the Year and earned the NBA All-Rookie First Team honor. On July 6, 2022, Morant signed a 5-year extension with the Grizzlies. The deal includes $193 million of guaranteed money, increasing to $231 million contingent upon his selection to an All-NBA team. Many great young players are looked over, but perhaps everyone needs a chance. How good can Morant get? Do you foresee him becoming potentially the best player in the league within a few years? Let us know in the comment section, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Also, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.